Phishing continues to be one of the most popular attacks used by cyber criminals in order to steal sensitive information from both individuals and organizations. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is for a cyber criminal to perform one of these phishing attacks using a free open source tool by the name of Gophish. So before we hop into the actual demo itself, I just wanted to give you a brief illustration of what phishing is. So phishing is basically when a hacker or a cyber criminal attempts to extract sensitive information from you. So let's use this example. Say the hacker is impersonating to be Gmail, right, or Google, right? It sends you a phishing email telling you that your Google password has been compromised and you need to click on this link to reset it. When you click on that link, this will take you to a phishing website. It may appear to be a legitimate Google website, but it's really a phishing website set up by the hacker itself. Once you enter your credentials here, this would be then sent to the hacker. The hacker could then use your Google credentials to be able to log into your legitimate Google account. Statistics show that year after year, phishing continues to be the most popular type of cybercrime. Alright, so to get started, I want to head over to DigitalOcean. So I'm going here because I need to create a virtual machine in the cloud that will be used to host our phishing server, our Gophish server, right? Technically, you could host your Gophish server locally. So if you have like VMware, one of those programs, and you want to spin up a VM locally and host the Gophish server, you could do that as well. However, it's a bit more technical since you need your people on the public internet to reach that server, locally on your machine. So you need to set up port forwarding and stuff. And I really want to keep this video as simple as possible. So I'm just using a cloud hosted VM, right? If you're interested in using DigitalOcean, I have an affiliate link in the video description where you could sign up for free and you get $200 credit. Right, 200 US credits. So feel free to check out the affiliate link in the video description. So remember, if you don't have an account, you could sign up. However, I have an account, so I'm just going to log into my account. So just give me a second to do that here. Alright, so I'm logged into my DigitalOcean account. So DigitalOcean is a pretty cool platform, like if you're an IT or cybersecurity in general, it's a great place where you could spin up virtual machines and do your projects here without having to run that overhead of having on-prem equipment, right? I have a bunch of things that I run in DigitalOcean. I have Unifi controllers, test machines, stuff like that, so feel free to check it out if it's, for anything else besides just this Gophish server, right? So I'm in my account, as I said, so I'm just going to hit create. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different things you could create here: cloud firewalls, databases, functions. We're going to choose droplets since we want to spin up a Ubuntu machine. We could choose the region, so feel free to choose a region that's closer to you. I'm just going to leave it on the default San Francisco. So I'm going to use a Ubuntu image for this installation, and I'm going to leave the version to the latest version. So coming down here now is where it gets interesting. We discuss pricing here, right? So based on the kind of machine you choose, you'd be billed accordingly, right? So by default, it's set to premium NVMe SSD, right? And it's $20 a month. I don't need a premium NVMe SSD. A regular one would work just fine. So I'm just going to select regular. And for the specifications, the one that says 1 gigabyte of RAM, 1 CPU, etc., this will be fine, so this is $6 a month. This is fine for the purpose of this video. Scrolling down again, we don't need to add additional volume. We don't need to enable backups. So here we need to set our password. Alright, so now that the password is set, add improve metrics monitoring. This is free, so I'm just gonna add it, just because it's free. I'm gonna leave everything else as the default. And I'm going to actually change, just name my machine, my server. So I'm going to name this Gophish server just so that it'll be easier for me to identify. And I think we're good to go there. So I'm just going to hit create droplet. And if we give it like about a minute or two, this droplet should be created. Alright, so it took like a minute for the droplet to be created. As we can see, it shows as active, right? And this is the IP address. Guys, please don't try to hack my IP address. I'm gonna destroy it right after this demo. But this is the IP address, and this is what we will use to access this VM, right? So I'm just gonna copy the IP address, and I'm gonna head over to my terminal emulator program, which is PuTTY. Right, and I want to paste that here, IP address. I'm going to hit open. I'm going to accept. So let me maximize the screen for you guys. Alright, so now that it shows me the login prompt, I'm going to log in as the root user. Right, and I'm going to enter the password that I just created for this machine. Alright, so I am successfully logged into my Ubuntu machine, right, VM. So now comes the fun part. Now is where we actually begin the installation of the Gophish server. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to do a wget, and I'm just gonna paste this link, guys. So I'm gonna leave all these links and this instructions in the video description, so feel free to check that if you want to follow along. So that actually would have downloaded the Gophish program, right, package in fact. So now that is successfully downloaded, let's do a ls to see if we see it in our directory. Yeah, so we can see that it has successfully downloaded in our download directory. Alright, so next what we want to do, I want to actually unzip this, right? But this is actually a fresh install, so I need to install the unzip feature. So I'm going to do apt install unzip. Alright, so unzip program is finished. So now I'm going to actually unzip the Gophish package. Right, if I tab it out, it reveal the name. I'm gonna hit enter. Right, so it has been unzipped. Alright, so next what we need to do is actually edit something in this config JSON file. Right, so to do that, I'm just going to use nano, the nano editor, and I'm gonna enter the file name config.json. So what I need to edit is actually this address right here. It's 127.0.0.1. That's just the local address for our machine, but we actually wanted to list on the public address, right? So to edit that, I'm just gonna come over here, backspace, and I'm gonna put 0.0.0.0. Right? And we're gonna leave everything else pretty much as it is, right? So what I want to do is Control X, and I'm gonna hit enter to save, sorry, Y to save, and enter. So that would have saved that that edit, right? So next what we need to do is actually run this file, right? Run the Gophish executable file. But before we could do that, we need to change it to the permissions on the file itself, right? So to do that, I'm just gonna do chmod 777 and Gophish. Hit enter, and we should be good now. Fingers crossed. Let's try to actually run the Gophish application. All right, so success. It says that it's starting the admin server, right, at the default IP address, right? And what we need to do is that it would give us the default username and password here. So let me see. Oh, there you go. So here we can see this is the default username, admin, and this is the default password here. So we need to copy the password at least, because I'm sure you could remember admin, but these are the credentials we'll be using to log into our Gophish server. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this now, right? I'm gonna head over back to my web browser, open a new tab. What we want to do is actually navigate to the IP address of our Gophish server. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to enter https :// paste that there, and the listening port is 3333, right? Once you've entered that, hit enter. You should get this error message. That's fine, because it's using a self-signed certificate as a reason for this error. Just hit advance and proceed. Right, so now we need to enter the username and password, right, for our Gophish server, as we saw was revealed there, right? The username and password, there it is, right? So it's admin and this password. So I actually pasted the password here, so I'm gonna copy it, and I'm just gonna enter admin and paste the password. Alright, so it should immediately prompt you to change your password. I'm gonna do that now. Alright, nice. So here we have our dashboard, right? Our Gophish dashboard. So here's where the magic happens, right? So first thing we want to do is we want to head over to account settings. Send in profiles. And we need to set up a profile. This is the profile the email profile, that we'll actually be using to send our phishing emails, right? So we're gonna hit on new profile. You could give it a name, whatever you want to name it. I'm just gonna name it my Gmail, right? Since it's a Gmail account I'm using. And we wanna set the SMTP from, right, address here, as well as the host and the username and password. So the SMTP from, this is basically the email address you'll be using to send the messages from. So I'm just gonna enter my one now. And you need to enter the SMTP information for Google, right? So it's actually smtp.gmail.com:465, right? Your username will basically be this, right? This will be your username. So one important thing here is your password, right? So it's not actually your Gmail password that you'll be using here. It's an app password that you need to enter here. So to get that, you head over to your Gmail account. You go to manage your Google account, right? And we want this in the search bar, search for app password. Right, it's asking me to enter my password again just to confirm. Let me do that here. Alright, so here now we have the app passwords. So I don't have any right now created in my account. So I'm gonna go ahead and create one, and I'm gonna name it Gophish just to keep it simple. And I'm gonna hit create. So you want to copy this, right? Since once you hit done, it doesn't show you it again. So you want to copy this password. Let me paste it just in case I lose it, right? And this essentially is the password that you'll be using here. So you want to go ahead and paste that password here. And what can we do? Let's add the test email just to make sure it's working. So I'm just gonna say Joshua. I'm just gonna say tech and right, so let me hit send, and it says email was sent successfully, right? Let me check here, and yeah, I'm seeing that I got the test email, right? So we know that it's able to send emails successfully using these settings. If it errors or it doesn't work for you for some reason, please, just check through these settings. Maybe you have something configured incorrectly. So I want to hit save profile. All right. So now we want to head over to email templates. right? So this essentially would be the where you will create your phishing email, that initial email that the user would see, right? So sometimes you would get those phishing emails with you've won $1 million, or your Microsoft account, your Google account needs to be reset. Please click on this button to do so. That's essentially the same concept here. This is the initial email that the user would receive. So to do that, we want to hit on new template, and I want to name this. I'm actually going to show you a Microsoft phishing email here. So I'm just going to name this Microsoft email. For an envelope send, I'm just going to leave that blank. Feel free to put in your email address if you want, but it normally autofills it for you anyways, right? So for the subject, this is really important, guys, because you want it to be something that will call the user to action, right? Something that they will take seriously and want to click on the phishing email, right? So I'm just going to name it urgent, suspicious activity on your Microsoft account. All right, so what we want to do now is create the body of the email message, right? I'm gonna hit HTML, and I actually have a couple of templates that I found online, right? So I'm gonna leave the links to this in the video description, but these are essentially the templates that I'll be using for this video. So I'm going to use this template first from Craig626, right? That says Microsoft HTML on the emails, right? I'm going to use this template. So to do that, I'm going to select that and hit copy, head back over to my Gophish server and paste this here, right? Once I paste it, I can hit source and it show me how it would look, right, to the user. So as you can see, it says there the user's first name, right? Someone in Bogota, Colombia attempted to log into the account several times, and feel free to click here to report it if it was fraudulent, right? Sincerely, Office 365. So you can actually edit this to your liking. I am going to do that here. I'm going to say Office, or in fact support, support at Microsoft.com. Right, so you could also add other things if you want to. So this looks good for me, so I'm just gonna hit save to save this template, and we can see the Microsoft email template has been saved. Next up, we want to hit create our landing page. So this is essentially the page that the user would be directed to once they hit on that, once they hit on the email, that link in the email. So to create the landing page, we hit on new page. I'm just gonna name it Microsoft landing page, right? And similarly, we need to paste the template, or you could create one from scratch as well. So for this, I'm going to use the one from Free 0 Days, right? He has one that says O365. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to head back over here and paste this right here. If I hit on source, this one actually doesn't, it takes a little while to show up properly, but once you see that blue screen, it's pretty much, you're set, it's good, right? So what we need to do is click capture submitted data. This would allow us to essentially capture the username and passwords. So I'm going to hit capture passwords as well, right, to ensure we get the passwords. So we could actually redirect them to log into a website, a legitimate website, after they submit the data, right? So I am going to do that. Let me just confirm that Microsoft.com is the correct domain. Yeah, so I'm just gonna copy this and paste this here, right? So this essentially will redirect the users to this website, the legitimate Microsoft website, after going to our fake website. So I'm going to hit save page. Right, so now that our sending profile, email template, and landing page has been set up, one more thing we need to actually set up. Actually, two more things, but this one is, the other one is simple. So we're going to go to user groups. So this is where we need to actually create a group of users that we want to send this phishing email to. So I'm going to name it Microsoft just to keep it simple. And here we have the options. If we have a CSV file of a bunch of users that we want to bulk upload, we could do that. However, I'm just going to manually add my personal account here, or my Tech Tips account here. So I'm just going to name it. Hold on. Enter my email address. Right, hit add. You can see this was added successful. I'm going to hit save changes. Alright, so moment of truth. Now we need to actually create our campaign, right? Our phishing campaign. So our phishing campaign is where we would, everything comes together. So if we hit a new campaign, I'm going to give the campaign a name. So I'm going to name it Microsoft, in the interest of keeping everything simple. And here we need to choose our email template. So if we had several templates, we could choose a different one from the drop down menu. We only have one, which is Microsoft email. Also landing page, we choose it here. We only have one, which is Microsoft landing page. Now we need to enter the IP address of our virtual machine, right? So to get that, I'm going to head back over to DigitalOcean. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come over here now and enter HTTP and IP address. Right, so as I said, if you were doing this on your home server, something virtualized locally, it's be much more difficult getting this up and running. Hence the reason I'm using DigitalOcean. Sending profile, we're going to leave that as my Gmail. And groups, this is the users that we want to send it to. So I'm just choosing Microsoft, right? That's the one I created. Alright, so everything looks good. So you could schedule the launch date of the campaign as well. However, we're gonna leave it as it is right now. So I'm gonna hit launch campaign. Yes, we are sure we want to launch it. Hit launch, and it says okay, the campaign has been launched. And as we can see the details, it shows that it was sent, right? Campaign created and the email was sent. So let me check now on my email address. Let me log in there and see if I saw that. Yeah, sure enough, I saw the email. Here we have it, right? Dear Joshua, someone in Bogota, Colombia, attempted to log into your account several times. If you believe it was fraudulent, please click here, right? Sincerely, Microsoft, support@microsoft.com, right? So, to the untrained eye, this might look legitimate. So what we want to do now is hit here to report it. And what do you know? Office 365, right? This looks good, looks about right. And let's enter our email address and password. Right, so guys, you see how simple this thing is, how simple this thing is to set up, right? It's pretty straightforward, and we're using a free tool here, right? Right, so let me hit sign in, and sure enough, it redirected me to the original Microsoft.com site. Right, so I'm none the wiser to untrained person. You would think, well, maybe I didn't enter my my credentials correctly, and you'd go ahead and probably do it again, right? But let's take a look over to our Gophish server now, and sure enough, here we can see the link was clicked, right? And if we refresh that, there's a refresh button somewhere here. Yeah, data was submitted data. And if we scroll down, we can see the type of system they used. And if we hit view details, sure enough, here we see the username and password. Guys, so you see how simple this was to set up. In a matter of minutes, I was able to set up this all using free tools, right? So just some quick things I want to show you how you could recognize one of these phishing emails. So if we head back over to the email address, if we look here, we're seeing the from address, and it shows my email address it came from, right? This is the one I set up in the Gophish server. So chances are, once it's a phishing email, they would be using an incorrect address, especially a Gmail address. If you're getting an email from a Gmail address, that's a dead giveaway, or a Yahoo address. Microsoft is not going to contact you from them, right? They're going to contact you from a Microsoft.com or Office.com address, right? Also, what you want to look at is some of the hackers, they are very intelligent, and they would have domain names with misspelled domains, right? So they might have Microsoft with a dot at the end of it, or they might misspell the word Microsoft. So you want to really look at where it's coming from. That's usually our first line of defense in identifying these phishing emails. Also, I just want to show you another thing. So you don't want to click on it if it's a phishing email, but if you did make a mistake and click on it, and you ended up in a landing page, if you look here, you'd see an IP address for the landing page. And this is not right. A genuine Microsoft landing page, again, if you look at the domain name, you'd see this here, right? Microsoft.com, and it's spelled correctly. This is not that, right? This basically is our IP address of a Gophish server. And hackers are very intelligent. They could tie this to a domain name, but you really want to look at it carefully, make sure it's spelled correctly with no hidden characters as well on it. Right, so guys, that kind of brings me to the end of this video. So this was just one example I showed you, but there's many templates available online where you could do Facebook, LinkedIn, a bunch of different things. You could create those phishing campaigns. Again, the purpose of this video was just to show you for educational purposes how easy it is for a hacker to create one of these phishing emails. You could basically do it with free open source tools, and I just wanted to show you for things you could look at to be able to help you identify these phishing emails. Also, if you're interested in trying out something like that just for fun, nothing illegal, right? You want to check out DigitalOcean. It's a great place to get your VM set up, for the purpose of, these kind of projects. My affiliate link in the video description below. You get $200 free credit, so you could try this on, for free essentially, if you want to follow along with these sorts of projects. So be sure to check that out. So that brings me to the end of this video, guys. So I really do hope that you found this useful, this sort of information useful. If you did and you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting on the notification bell so you'll be notified once a new video is released. As always, thanks again for viewing. See you soon.